Hello everyone and welcome back to Das Haus. This is Thomas Gunn and today we're going to be making a German version of a lemon bundt cake. So to start off, preheat your oven to 350 degrees and place yourself a rack in the middle of your oven. Also butter and flour yourself a bundt pan. I'll show you afterwards what that is if you don't know what that is, and let's get going. So this is a really good recipe. It's my sister's favorite cake and she's coming today to visit me for the holidays, so I thought I would make this for her as a surprise. It was also actually my father's favorite cake. So let's get going. So the first thing you're going to need is half a pound of butter. So let's get that in. Room temperature is best because that'll help you get it creaming quicker. So let's get that creaming. I don't know if you'll be able to hear me over the machine, so in case you can't, I'll just cream the butter real quick. Into the butter now, we're going to add 2 cups of sugar, just plain regular sugar. We'll add that in slowly on a medium speed. You're probably going to have to scrape down your bowl once in a while, like I will now. You know, I love this machine. I'm not going to say the brand, although you can probably tell. Love this machine. I wouldn't change it. The only thing that is slightly bothersome is that this particular attachment does not go right to the side of the bowl. So I find you're having to scrape down a lot. Anyway, off we go again to add the rest of the sugar and continue creaming. Just going to scrape that down again and add the rest of the sugar. Another scrape. See, this is what I mean about this machine. So at this point we're going to be adding 4 eggs. Just try to drop them in one at a time. It's easier to incorporate an egg into this mix if you do it one at a time. If you do them all at once, they tend to, it's almost as if the dough separates. So that's 1. That's 2. Give it another scrape. That's 3 eggs. and 4. So as you can see, now it's fairly liquid and blended. Now you want to add 2 tablespoons of lemon rind. Coincidentally, it ended up being exactly the rind from 2 medium-sized lemons. And you are also going to need 1/3 cup of lemon juice, which coincidentally again was also exactly the amount of juice from 2 medium-sized lemons in my case. So let's mix this lemon rind in. Now we're going to mix in the 1/3 cup of lemon juice. Fresh lemon juice, please. Don't use the concentrate. So 2 more steps to go and we're done. So at this point you're going to need 3 cups flour mixed with 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and you will need 1 cup of milk. So now we are going to alternate adding the dry ingredients with the wet. So you'll add some flour, some milk, some flour, some milk, some flour, and that'll be the end of the dough. So off we go, or the batter I should say. Here we go. I'm going to start this on low. Here we go with some of the flour and the baking powder mixture. Add in a little bit of the milk. Give that a whisk. Some more of the flour. Some more of the milk. And add the rest of the flour. The rest of the milk. And that, folks, is it. So let's beat this up. I'm going to scrape down the sides. Get all that flour well incorporated. So now I'm just going to do one more good scraping, because sometimes right in the center of the bottom of the bowl, the whisk does not reach. So I just want to make sure that everything is cleaned up from the bottom. Give that one more quick whisk. And that, folks, is it for the batter. I'm going to take this off. Shake it off. And try to scrape this down, because I find that for some reason the lemon rind seems to accumulate on the beater. I guess it gets hung up on all the little different wires, so you end up with quite a bit of the lemon rind not in the batter. So there we go. That's our batter. Just make sure the lemon rind is well distributed. I'm going to move this over just so I can show you the bundt pan. So I'm going to back this up. Here we go, that's my bundt pan. Like I said, it's being floured, buttered and then floured. So now we're going to just pour the batter in. It should level itself out for the most part. And how well you scrape down the bowl depends on how much dough you want to eat yourself. So I sometimes leave myself probably a little too much dough left in the bowl, or batter I should say, because you know, your guy likes to eat himself some batter. So there we go. Like I said, the oven has been preheating at 350. Level this out. So this will go into the oven now, middle rack, 350 for 1 hour to 1 hour and 10 minutes. Or unless a skewer comes out clean. Another way to tell is if you push on the top of the cake and it's firm and springs back, you're done. All right, so I'm going to put this in the oven now. I'll let you know exactly how long it took, but like I've said before, each oven varies. And then we'll make the glaze and we're ready to serve. I'll be back soon. So now to make the lemon glaze. It's not an exact science because it's more about the consistency. You want it not so thin that it just totally runs down the side of your cake, and you want it thick enough so that it more or less glazes the cake so that it sits on top. It doesn't need to run down all the sides perfectly. It's quite fine if it's just dripping down the sides. So to start here, I have 2 cups of icing sugar, also known as confectioner's sugar or powdered sugar. And very slowly to this, we're going to start adding in lemon juice, fresh lemon juice. So let's do, to start, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons. And we'll get that going. And as you'll see, it really does start to really melt. See, it's almost totally all melted already. The icing sugar, I'm going to put in another one. So that's 3 tablespoons so far total. And let's whisk that up and see what consistency we get to here. I'm just trying to get this off my whisk because I'm going to switch over to a fork. I find that easier. I don't know why I started with a whisk. Let's get a fork. And there we go. I can tell already that's too thick. Let's put 1 more tablespoon of lemon juice. So, just really want to beat out any lumps of sugar. You could have sifted the sugar first, but really it does break down. So let's see how this looks. That is almost good enough. So I'm going to add just another scant half of a tablespoon. So that's 4.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. There's a little bit of seed. To 2 cups of icing sugar. So you see, as you pick it up, you can tell that this will make ribbons. It will run over the top of the cake, but it's not so thin that it'll totally slide off. And you do want to pour this onto the cake, not when it's hot, because then it really will just literally melt right off your cake. All right, so there we go. The glaze is made, the cake is still in the oven. I'll come back as soon as the cake is out and has cooled down a bit. So the cake just came out of the oven and it was in for exactly 1 hour. It's still very hot and has to cool, but I wanted to show you how to tell that it's done without having to poke it with a skewer. So if you see, when I'm pushing down on it, you see how that bounces back? It's firm, but still tender, bounces back. That's how you know it's done. You can use that trick for most cakes, especially bundt cakes. And this cake will obviously be inverted, so this will not be the side that you see, but you could serve this, with this side up. It's nice with the split in the top, and adding that with, adding the lemon glaze to that. But anyway, I'm going to let this cool down. It'll take at least 10, 15, 30 minutes probably to totally cool down. I'll invert it, and maybe we'll glaze it together. So here we go. The cake is unmolded. As you see, it came out very nicely. So now we've got that glaze that we made earlier. Just give it another quick whisk with the fork. So now just take a big amount on your fork and slowly just drizzle it over the entire top of the cake. As you can see, it's nice and thick, but still spreadable. Once I've got it all on the cake, you can help it along, but it seems to be running nicely on its own. Let me just get a spoon. Makes it easier to get it all out. So I could put a little more here, a little over there. And as you can see, it levels out nicely. And there you go. So give this cake a try. You're going to love it. It's got nice lemon flavor. It's nice and moist. It's not too dry, not too dense. You could obviously, if you wanted to, you could still gild the lily with some grated lemon zest on the top, or perhaps a couple of very thin candied slices of lemon. Or if you want to make this like a centerpiece on the table, you could always put maybe 3 or 4 small lemons right here in the middle. That would be impressive. So there you go. Give this a try. Like the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell if you want to get notifications. And I hope you like this recipe. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you next time.